Welcome to the Pandemonium Witches podcast, where the AD is in the HD, the true crime is as scary as the ghost stories, and the hosts are as cunning as foxes. I'm Kat.
I'm Rachel.
I'm Em.
And I'm Meg.
Now on to the show. So, good morning.
Good morning.
It's just you and me today. Em is
Two amigos.
Right, the two amigos. Sam, our librarian, is on their way to work, I think, and my kid River is, I think, passed out.
Probably. She posted online like 3 hours ago, but she probably rolled back over and went back to sleep.
Probably. So, Emily is actually sick. Yeah, she's not feeling too well today, which, understandable. I get it.
It's probably the dust they're stirring up, packing things. And
oh my God, that house is so empty.
like just moving stuff that has been moved or hasn't been like touched in a while, like just throws up all kinds of stuff.
Right. Which honestly, I didn't really realize how many penguins I left at her house after the wedding.
All of them.
I know she found 4. Well, Raven found 4 in the pantry. I put 1 in her shoe, 1 in Raven's shoe, 1 in Alan's shoe, and 1 in Chris's shoe.
Yeah.
So they were packing up the shoes, obviously. And Raven's like, why are there penguins in our shoes?
Because that was a Tia thing.
Right. I don't even know where I put the rest.
That makes it even better.
I know.
She will be unpacking things and finding more, and I'm gonna laugh.
Oh God. So Emily, when you hear this, I apologize, but
not really though.
Not really. No. However, I do have to say we're starting off the month of May with this recording. I'm very excited because it's my birthday month. It's also Emily's birthday month. But hold on. Exciting. I'm turning the big 4-0. Jesus.
Lies. I don't believe it.
No, I'm literally that old.
No, I know, but
I don't look it.
Nope. Definitely don't act like it either.
No, I don't. That would be my husband in the other room. He keeps me young.
I mean, between me and him, like, we got to.
Right. Otherwise, I'll get so stressed, I'll probably pull my own hair out.
Nobody wants that because you have such pretty hair.
I do. I'm debating on what color to dye it next, but
I was about to say we got to pick. We have to start brainstorming colors.
I know. The next. I was thinking about like a red, like a deep cherry red color, because I've been red a few times and I loved it. Mm-hmm. But that's me. Do you know what May is also for? Not just my birthday. Huh?
The April showers bring May flowers. What do May flowers?
Yes. Bring lots of flowers. Bring the gays. National Pride Day is in May.
Yes.
We also need to give a shout out to nurses because May is Nurses Appreciation Month. So let's give it up to our nurses. So that being said, the entire month of May, we're going to be doing murderous nurses.
Also murderous
doctors,
medical professionals.
Yes, medical professionals. So that being said, I have some good topics.
Oh, good. I have a good topic too.
Oh, we both have topics.
Yes.
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors?
Sure. Shoot.
Oh my God. Okay. How about you go first? All right. This is not going to work with the delay, man.
Else could see that we literally did it twice. We did the exact same thing.
Same thing. No, we're
which is why yours and my saying is 2 different bodies, one brain.
One brain. We're like the orange cat. You have the same brain cell.
Oh man, that was. I needed that.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I did too. You know.
Yeah, that was perfect. So for my topic, we'll be going to Japan during the 1940s.
Oh, shut up! Mine's out of the States too.
Really?
Yeah, I did France.
Holy shit!
Okay. So this episode is brought to you by the International Killers. Yes. Okay. So Japan.
Sorry, I got distracted by the cat. She's trying to figure out how to get over to my chair. I'm
waiting
for her to fall over.
The love. Fluffy. Oh, by the way, guys, if you have not seen this cat, it is the fluffiest fucking cat on the planet.
Hence her name.
Hence her name is Fluffy.
Because when she was just a wee little kid, and she literally was just a poof ball with a face. And I was just like, so, little sidetrack story. I got her in, I want to say like 2011, from a friend of mine. One of his parents' cats had accidental kittens.
Oh.
And yeah, they also kept taking in strays and turning ferals into house cats. So I went over to hang out and I saw her, and I was just, so around this time, Despicable Me came out with, the, oh my God, it's so fluffy thing. And so I literally pointed at it, did that. and it just, he was like, all right, that one's yours. And I was like, okay, cool. Now I just have to tell my parents that I just got a cat.
Right?
When my parents had already said, no more animals.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Mom was not thrilled. Dad just laughed.
I mean, but your cat is so fucking cute.
She is. And she's definitely is grown on Mom. It took a little bit.
Just a smidge. Just a skosh.
Yeah. Oh, and she jumped down because I think it's a lizard. Might be a bird outside the door. Nope. Oh, it's the orange cat.
It's the orange cat? Get him, Fluffy! Yeah. Get him!
Well, I mean, there's a door between her and the cat didn't even notice. She just kept walking.
Just kept going. So you said Japan. 1940s?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So pre World War II.
No. It was about
World War II.
Around World War II.
Okay.
During the U.S. Occupation of Tokyo.
Okay.
Yeah. So too long. Didn't read.
As we do.
Yes. Infanticide during the U.S. occupation of Japan during the 1940s. I'm going to go ahead and apologize because I know I'm going to mispronounce these names, even though I've been practicing them all week.
She has been practicing.
So, but I already know I'm going to mess up, so I apologize ahead of time. I'm going to give this my best shot, and I'm so sorry. Ishikawa, along with several accomplices, she murdered dozens of infants, known as the Kotobuki Sanin incident.
Okay.
So the Kotobuki Sanin was a maternity home.
Oh, okay.
And so because she worked there, that's why it was called.
So it's kind of like a mother's house
incident.
It's like a mother's house. Okay. All right.
So her name is Miyuki Ishikawa.
That's actually okay. All right.
She was born February 5th, 1987, died May 30th, 1987, at 90 years old. So in 2014, she traveled to Tokyo, where she enrolled in the Tokyo Imperial University and graduated as a midwife September 30th, 1919.
Okay.
Where she then married Takeshi. I'm just not gonna. I'm just dropping last names because I'm gonna get tongue-tied.
Okay.
Who was 3 years older than her. He was a former Kempeitai sergeant and police officer. He then helped her midwifery work without a regular job. They had no children together due to the fact that she had a hysterectomy. Mm-hmm. However, they raised his son from a previous marriage and then adopted 3 other children, 2 boys and 1 girl.
So she already has 1 kid from previous marriage.
He had 1 child.
Right. And they adopted 2 kids.
3. So they raised his son from his first marriage.
Okay.
And then together they adopted 3 other children, 2 boys and 1 girl.
Okay.
Yeah. She was an experienced midwife and managed the maternity home. And this maternity home held important positions of multiple midwife associations. So it was a well-known maternity home.
Mother home. Okay. Okay.
In April of 1947, she ran in the election of the Shinjuku Ward's Assembly members and was unsuccessful. Was that a little strong?
It's a little hot.
Oh.
my mouth was not ready for the piping hot contents of coffee. Guys, when we're recording this, it's early. Okay, it is early. We me and Emily play D&D on Saturday nights, and we play until late. I went to bed at almost midnight last night.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up at 7:30. It's now 8:50.
Almost 9 o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah. It's early, so coffee is required.
Yes. Okay, so fast forward to the late 1940s. At this point, World War II is already over with.
Right.
However, the U.S. still has some control over Tokyo. Just, post-war bullshit. So this was immediately during the immediate post-World War II period, a multitude of babies were kept at the maternity home.
Mm-hmm.
Most were born to unwed impoverished mothers who couldn't properly afford to raise their babies.
Okay.
So they kept them to try and find them homes, but there wasn't a lot of homes that they could place them with because not many people were looking or even willing to even foster, because they were having a hard time keeping their own families fed.
Right. I mean, for people who don't know this, so it's kind of like the unwed mothers' homes that they had in the United States in the 30s to the 60s. I think it was mid-60s when they disbanded the unwed mothers' homes, and they just made them
60s or 70s.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah, but I mean, it's the same premise. They go there and they'd raise the kids, and then people would come through and quote unquote adopt them, even though there's no paper trail.
Yeah.
For a good chunk of the children. Anyways, continue. Sorry. Didn't mean to.
So due to the decrease in foster parents,
Mm-hmm.
So Miyuki decided to neglect numerous infants,
Decided.
which yes, which led to many of them dying as a result
As you do. Yes, of course.
of neglect.
Mm.
So many of the midwives that were employed by Miyuki were disgusted by their employer doing this and resigned from their positions.
Fucking hell. So they
Um,
didn't try to stop her, they just left?
I guess.
Fuck.
Yeah. So while she was doing this to these poor children, she attempted to collect payment from the families.
Excuse me, ma'am. No.
She and her husband told the families it would be less than the expense of raising their unwanted children.
Ma'am.
Basically, she was trying to have them pay for
Essentially murdering
their children to die.
Right.
Because otherwise it would be more expensive to raise them.
What a bitch.
Yeah. So Shiro Nakayama, who's a medical doctor, was also complicit in the scheme and aided the couple by falsifying death certificates.
Fuck.
So I found a table. So the total number of burial permits that they were allotted was 84. The infant count was 211.
Rachel, no ma'am.
Yeah. So in 1943, they had 8 infant deaths. Burial permit was 0. 1944, deaths 24, permit 0. 1945, deaths was 34, but with 1 permit. And 46, there was 40 deaths and 24 permits. In 47, there was 100 deaths and 53 permits. And then in 1948, there was 5 deaths and 6 permits. Yeah.
That's more than just like a simple coincidence. It's not a coinky-dink. This is like
no. Yeah.
Something fishy's going on.
Oh yeah. So 2 police officers from the Waseda police station accidentally found the remains of 5 victims on January 12th, 1948. Accidentally found.
Accidental? What? Like they left it under the cupboard?
So they apparently were found at a temple.
Ma'am.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
Let's see, where was that? Oh wait, no. Those 5. No. There was. Remember that temple bit? That wasn't the 5 that they found.
Oh, there's more. Okay. Cool.
Oh yes, of course there was.
Of course there is. There's always more.
Yes. So autopsies were performed on the 5 remains. And the autopsies showed they had not died of natural causes. Yeah. So the police are curious and like,
right,
this isn't normal. So Miyuki and her husband were arrested on January 15th, 1948. There were still 7 living infants at the home when their arrests were made. However, 2 of the 7 died soon afterwards, after Miyuki and her husband were arrested. Yeah. So the Public Health and Welfare Section, PHW, at the GHQ/SCAP. I'll explain
Okay.
all the acronyms here in a minute.
Okay.
And the Tokyo Kanagawa Military Government District also dispatched officers to the site. So GHQ is the general headquarters, and the SCAP is the Supreme Commander for the Allied Powers, which was a position held by General MacArthur during the U.S.-led Allied occupation of Japan. Yeah, I had to look up all these acronyms, and I was just like, what the hell is this here for?
Okay.
So with further inspection, the ashes of over 40 infants were found in a house of a mortician, and those of 30 more were found in a temple.
30?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
So they found, just with the further investigation, a total of 70 infants.
70.
70.
Not 17.
No,
what?
70.
Jiminy.
So the number of bodies that were recovered and the amount of time the murders took place made it difficult for the authorities to determine the exact number of the poor victims.
Oh my God.
Prosecutors, while in court, asserted the couple had murdered at least 27 infants among the 84 deaths between April 1946 and January 1948.
Oliver is ashamed. Oliver is so ashamed at this person because 87.
Mm-hmm.
84.
Yeah, and that prosecutors said that they had murdered at least 27 of the 84.
Oh my fucking God.
Because, some of them, she might have, had a hand in actually, killing her themselves. Others, they died of neglect. Either way, she's guilty of all the shit.
Right.
So, October 11th, 1948, the Tokyo District Court found them guilty of 5 murders.
5.
Including the 2 infants that passed away after their arrest by omission. Found them guilty of 5 murders by omission.
The shade I was just looking at freaking Rachel right now. The excuse me, the tilted head, the lowering of the glasses. Ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay.
Miyuki was sentenced to 8 years in prison. Only 8. And her husband and Dr. Shiro were sentenced each to 4 years.
Death.
Imprisonment.
Death. That's what they deserve.
They and the prosecutors appealed the sentences by October 16th, 1948.
Appealed?
On April 25th, 1952, the Tokyo High Court, because they went from district to the High Court,
right?
Like with U.S. courts, you kind of go up
through the systems, yeah.
So the Tokyo High Court sentenced Miyuki to 4 years in prison and her husband to 2 years. They were granted pardons by effectuation of the Treaty of San Francisco. And the Supreme Court of Japan rejected the second appeal on September 15th, 1953. Miyuki insisted that the parents were responsible for their deaths.
What?
Since they were deserted children.
Oh, no, ma'am. Mm-mm.
Some people agreed with her. However, some criticized the assertion, saying it was an example of discrimination against deserted children. It was revealed that the other 11 maternity homes in Tokyo also committed similar crimes by the end of 1948.
Ma'am.
So it wasn't just hers, it was 11 others, but she just happened to get caught.
Like, what's a little murder?
Right? Several intellectuals advocated that Japanese government should begin to consider the legalization of abortion in Japan in order to prevent the reoccurrence of such incidents. On July 13th, 1948, the Eugenic Protection Law, which is now known as the Mother's Body Protection Law, was established. On June 24th, 1949, abortion for economic reasons was legalized under the Eugenic Protection Law in Japan.
Okay.
I think that was probably one of the only good things that came out of that whole thing.
Probably more than likely, because it's the whole my body, my rights kind of thing. But it was protecting the mother and the child, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So you might want to hold on for this a little bit.
Oh no.
So in 1969, Miyuki was interviewed by a Japanese magazine.
Interviewed. Okay. That's why you want me to hold on. Got it.
Claiming her innocence in the murders.
Ma'am, no.
Her husband was already dead, and at this time, she was operating a real estate office in Tokyo.
Real estate?
Yep. And then after her sentence, she began to sell soap, cream, and fish as a way to make money.
There are, as Professor McGonagall once said, there are several things I would like to say.
Yeah, but and then, like I said, in 1987, she then died. But all she did was she served, a handful of years, and that was it.
Jeez.
Yep. So what you got for me?
Well, murder, of course.
Always
murder. Ours takes place in France, though.
Okay.
So needless to say, I had to run everything I researched through a translation app.
Because everything being in a foreign language.
Right. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of your stuff was not exactly in English.
Most of it was, thankfully.
That's good. I'm glad yours was.
Yeah.
Mine was in Parlez-vous français? I know how to say 3 things in French. One of them is, "Excuse me, miss, where's the bathroom?"
I know a couple of things, but that's about it.
Yeah. I'm opening it. Sorry for all the clicking in the background. I'm not deleting it. I'm opening it. Okay. Shorten this. All right. Because if I had it open on my phone, it might short circuit.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah. My phone's been kind of not wanting to load Drive lately. There we go. All right. So mine was in French. It was in the 80s and the 90s.
Okay, so a little bit newer.
A little bit newer
than mine.
A little bit newer. She had a couple of nicknames, but let's start with her name. Her name was Christine Malèvre. That's how I'm going to pronounce it, because I tried pronouncing it, and French is not my forte. It's M-A-L-E with a little V-R-E. Malèvre. I'm just going to say Malèvre.
We just go by first names.
Christine. So she was a Capricorn. I love to figure out their zodiacs.
Of course.
She was born January 10th, 1970, which makes all of her decisions. The reason why I pull up the zodiacs is because it makes so much sense. Because Capricorns are known for being passionate and helping others, and their restraint in difficult situations. Yes, Capricorns are great. We love our Capricorn. They're also known for being driven, having severe structure, and like to be in control of all situations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Fairly accurate.
So her nickname was the Madonna of Euthanasia and the Angel of Death.
The Madonna of Euthanasia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
That's a new one.
Okay. So she worked in Paris, obviously, France. Francois Quincey Hospital, Mentes La Jolie. Ha ha! That's as close as we're going to get.
We can do it slowly, but not fast.
Emily just texted me.
How's she feeling?
Like death.
I figured.
She's like, what are we doing? Japanese midwife murderers and the French angel of death. This is why I have my notes on the computer and typing there.
Exactly.
So she worked in the pulmonology clinic in the hospital.
Okay.
So for those of you who are not well versed in medical knowledge, pulmonary is breathing. It's the lungs. I couldn't find a lot on her background history because most of them were in French. But what I did find was that she was a nurse in France and known to be great with patients.
Yeah, they usually are great with patients until all of a sudden they're not.
Till they're murderers. Jesus. So she's in her 30s, July 25th, 1998. This is after her reign, after she's already done what she's done. She tried to kill herself with sleeping meds. And
of course, trying to get the easy way out.
Confessed in the ambulance on the way to the hospital of killing 30 patients at the hospital she worked with. Yeah. She later recanted by the police, saying that she was under duress because she was dying in the ambulance. She was making a last-ditch effort to clean her soul, right? As it were.
Yay, deathbed confessions.
Right. So she can't, she's trying to get it dismissed. So the nurse, 29, became a symbol for the growing civil movement in France in favor of euthanasia. So the Netherlands at this point, in the early 90s or the mid to late 90s, the Netherlands and Switzerland allowed euthanasia. Paris was still very much far behind. So was Germany, Italy, and Russia. They didn't allow it.
Mm-hmm.
So originally charged with the lesser charge of manslaughter, her charge was upgraded to murder. The decision to press murder charges against her followed a psych report, which stated she had a morbid fascination with death and disease.
Obviously.
I mean, they all did.
She just killed people.
She killed people. That's how you kill people, girl. Shortly after her release on bail, she tried unsuccessfully to commit suicide again on drugs.
Because, the first time didn't work out so well. So.
Right. So January 20th, 2003, in Versailles, the trial began. Her charges were of murdering 7 gravely ill patients between 1997 and 1998. So a full year, 30 grown adults that were invalid in CCU and ICU. Yeah.
So they're hooked up to all kinds of machines.
Right.
Can't do a damn thing to save themselves.
Right. She said she admitted to killing 4 patients by injecting them with lethal doses of morphine, potassium, and other drugs, but denied being responsible for the other 3 deaths. Right.
I mean, if it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck.
It's a duck. It's a duck. Another report states that patients were 3 times more likely to die when this killer nurse was on duty. To quote, This is from the transcripts. The judge has realized that we are dealing with a serial killer, more than just the Madonna of Euthanasia. And that was the lawyer, Oliver Maurice, that was actually...
By this point, they're looking at when she, her shifts that she worked and the death rates for the area that she worked in. And they're like, these are kind of matching up on this. Let's dig back a little bit further.
The math is mathing.
Oh, look. Oh, look. All the evidence.
So, Oliver was the lawyer for all of the families, the patients that had been murdered. At least 5 of them. There were 7 in total that they could figure out were her victims, because the consequences just didn't add up. She told the court that she helped people end their suffering and depart in peace. I do not kill. I am not a criminal.
But that's what you were doing. You were killing them.
Right. Make it make sense. Prosecutors did not agree with her statement, having nicknamed her the Black Widow by her colleagues. Run, honey. Prosecutors told the court...
What?
He had to go to the bathroom.
Oh.
Run. Prosecutors told the court that her motives for ending the lives of her patients were not merciful, but rather due to the morbid fascination by death and illness. By killing these patients, she was satisfying her compulsions.
Yeah.
I happen to agree. Families of the deceased also went on record agreeing with the prosecution that she had killed for her own good, not for the good of her patients, denying that their relatives or the patients ever asked to die.
Assisted homicide is still homicide.
Correct. Statements which would later turn her supporters against her. She had received 5,000 letters of support prior to trial.
Homicide, still homicide.
Homicide is still homicide, Her alleged victims were aged between 72 and 88. All were in terminal phases of incurable diseases, mostly lung, because they were in the pulmonology clinic in the ICU and CCU. And all had been apparently put to death at the patient's own request or that of relatives, per Christine.
But there's no record of that. It's just literally her word.
Right. It's hearsay.
Exactly.
None of the patients' families had pressed charges, and sources state that the nurse was questioned as a result of an inquiry brought forth by hospital officials and were surprised at the abnormal number of deaths in the pneumology department of the hospital.
Specifically for times that she worked.
Correct.
Because with, end-of-life care, you expect deaths, but
not that many.
The fact that she was, every shift, she was getting dead bodies shown up.
Right.
It starts raising a lot of red flags.
A lot of red flags. This was like Mardi Gras on parade, my dude. Another red flag.
That red flag guy.
Right. Where's Dustin Pointer? Let's see here. Families of her victims denied that the patients had made any such request to help ending their lives. Like they all wanted to live. She confessed that she had said that she wanted to help them die out of compassion. I think it's sus.
The web we weave is unraveling.
Girl, it's already gone. It's just a net.
I know.
It's just a...
It's just some strings now.
It's just some strings. She confessed and said that she wanted to help them die out of compassion. In fact, according to Reuters, which is one of the lawyers, she said that she had assisted around 30 patients to die, but that she reduced that number to 2 and claimed that she had done it at their request. 2 others, she said, had been accidents.
What'd she do? Just overdose them then?
Mm-hmm. She had written a book about everything that happened. It is available on Amazon in French, English, and German.
I was about to say, is it only offered in French?
I did find a few excerpts that were in English, and I did include it, which were her snippets and the lawyer's snippets as well. It's called My Confessions, which is also the name of Britney Spears' novel as well. So please don't get the two of them confused. I almost did.
Because, exact same names, but entirely different people.
Entirely different story.
As far as we know, Britney Spears has not murdered anybody.
I mean, no, she hasn't murdered anybody, but I mean, I was sitting there going, wow, this is about Britney Spears. No wonder it was free because, the Amazon rating or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, this is great. Nope.
Wrong book.
Wrong book. So, guys, make sure you're doing your research carefully. So, it's called My Confessions, apparently an attempt to bring attention to the need for euthanasia for incurable and painful diseases. We're going to talk about that in a second because I have a hot take on that. After 4 hours of deliberation, she was sentenced to 10 years imprisonment for the murder of 6 of the 7 patients she was accused of killing. She was also permanently banned from working as a nurse in France. She can still work as a nurse other places.
However, if she went to like a different country and, she would have to take their boards, but they would still be like, oh, let's do a background check. Oh, look.
You murdered people. Right.
We don't want you to work here. No, right. Thanks. No, thank you.
So she was sentenced same month, January of 2003, for the 6 of the 7 deaths to a prison term of 10 years. And she's permanently banned in France from working as a nurse. Some info about the victims. I was only able to get info about 2 of the victims. One of them I was able to translate successfully. The other one looked like string cheese when I translated it. Yeah, it was a little messy. So this one comes straight from The Guardian, which is a journalistic output. Elaine Lamont, which is the wife of Denise, died at the hospital in 1997, recounted how Christine had telephoned his home at December 9th, 1997 in the morning. Called him first thing in the morning. Claimed the nurse, then called the hospital's resuscitation unit and described Denise's symptoms and was told to administer an injection to ease a small epileptic fit. At 10, when I arrived, Denise just had enough energy to turn to me and smile before she died in my arms, said her husband, who now believes Christine may have administered a lethal injection of morphine to his wife. After his wife's death, he said he received an invitation to her wedding.
That's weird.
He claims that he was then contacted by a friend whose husband had died at the hospital, also in her unit, by suspicious circumstances. So he was the other one that I couldn't figure out how to translate.
He's like, these things are,
not adding up.
These things are not like the other.
Right. One of these things is not like the other. He then stated, when she told me that she had also been invited to the wedding, I asked myself, since when do nurses invite patients to their weddings, widows and widowers of people who died in their care?
Right.
And that's unfortunately the end of the information that I have on Miss Christine. Because 90% of the information I found was in French.
And Google Translate's only,
only so accurate. Only so accurate. I did have to outsource some of it because I was like, I don't understand what this says. And my friend's like, oh, don't worry, I got you. And then she's like, I don't understand half of what this says either. And I was like, okay, so between the two of us, we can't figure it out. That's fine.
When a French speaker is like, I can't even make heads or tails of this.
Right.
It's a little much.
Right. So, I figure I did it some justice.
We did what we could.
We did what we could. I do want to talk because I did have 2 grandparents that died in hospice care. I do want to talk about the assisted sewer slides, as it were.
Yeah.
Because if my grandfather was in a lot of pain when he died, as was my grandmother, but I wasn't there. I mean, I was there for my grandmother, but she made me move that morning. We're not going to get into that, because then I'll cry. But when it comes to like assisted euthanasia, right?
Yeah.
I'm very adamantly against it unless the patient signs something.
Yeah, like a DNR,
right?
Some type of paperwork that says, yes, this is what I actually wanted.
Correct. Like, I personally don't want to be hooked up to machines.
Me either.
A lot of my friends were hooked up to machines, after overdosing, and it killed me, dude. Like, not literally, obviously, but I would go to the hospital and there would just be these tubes, and I was like, if I ever get in that situation, Josh and I have already discussed it, I am not.
No, just go ahead and
flip
that switch and
obviously leave me alive until my mother comes to say goodbye.
Well, obviously.
But
like, wait until everybody has a chance to say their goodbyes, and then.
Right. Because I'm sorry, if you're that doctor, if I'm, and I know this is a heavy topic for you right now, so I'm not going to talk about it much.
No, it's fine.
If I am on a ventilator and that doctor removes me from that ventilator before my mother can come say goodbye, that doctor is dead. I don't care who you are. My mother will bring me back from the dead, make them put me on a ventilator again. She will be doing compressions until she gets a heartbeat, put me back on the ventilator and look at the doctor and go, okay, now I can say my goodbyes.
Yeah.
Because
No, like 100%. I feel the exact same way. Like, get everybody there so we can say goodbye, and then go ahead and do it.
Right. Because, I mean, excuse me. I burped. I don't ever want to have that conversation with your mother.
Yeah.
I love your mother. I don't ever want to have that conversation with her.
I know.
So like a lot of people were like, I don't need to have a will. I don't need to. No, guys, if you are old enough to have an emergency contact on your work information, if you're old enough to work, fill out what you would like to be done. Just in case.
If you're 18, go ahead and start
figuring that out.
Making, plans, because honestly, tomorrow is not guaranteed.
It's not. Whenever I would say goodbye to my best friend before she had passed away, her and I got sick around the same time. We would always say, see you later. Yeah. See you later, alligator.
Never goodbye. It was just see you later.
Nope. And then
whether it be in this life or the next.
The next day, I think it was like the next day after I'd seen her, she had died. I was wrought. Like, it was just the worst thing ever. But we already knew like how she wanted to go. We already knew what she needed and what she wanted. Like, it wasn't a matter of,
Yeah.
So, but I do have to say, the rest of the topics for this month are a little bit less
sombering.
Yes. Still plenty of death. Plenty of death. But I do have to discuss one thing about hospitals before we go for today. So, I don't know if you remembered, but I used to work for a hospital.
Yeah. Cabbage Patch knees.
Oh my fucking God. Let me tell you, there was a haunted wing in that hospital. Nobody else discussed it. They said it wasn't. Oh, but it was. Anybody?
It was, if we don't talk about it, it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. If you saw it, no, you didn't.
Exactly.
those nurses had no feet.
The nuns had no feet.
The nuns had no feet. But like, oh Jesus. So we're gonna have a special guest sometime this month. We know when. You don't.
Feet.
This person works in healthcare. I am so fucking stoked. Do you know what they're gonna talk about yet?
Not a clue.
Okay. All right, cool. But you gave them some like ideas, some topics and stuff. Cool.
Yep.
Cool. All right. I'm going to be just as surprised as you guys because I'm so stoked.
So excited.
Oh, man. With that being said, I guess I had fun today. I don't know. I mean, talking about dead babies and dead grandparents. I mean, your sister just...
It was a lot today.
It was a lot today. So that was our story of the Japanese midwives and the French angel of death.
Yes.
If you guys have any suggestions that you want to hear, you can always send it to our email, which is tpw3mpodcast@gmail.com. You can also follow our Instagram, which is tpw3mpodcast. But for the entire month of May, we are honoring our nurses and honoring our doctors and honoring our medical professionals because they do a great job at trying to keep us alive, even though some doctors and nurses apparently want us dead.
Right.
So with that being said, stay spooky. Don't get in cars with strangers.
Make sure you have your end of life stuff put together.
Right,
guys.
your will. Last will and testament.
Life insurance if you can afford it.
Right. Beneficiaries for your bank accounts.
Medical next of kin.
Right.
All of it.
My cousin is my legacy contact on my phone.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, I love you, Rachel, but I know for a fact my cousin will get to my phone before you.
Yeah. I'll be too busy dealing
with my mother.
Yes.
Yeah.
And try and hold Josh together. So.
Oh God. Yeah. No.
I'll have too many other things to do.
Right. Of course, we're gonna taxidermy my body.
Of course.
Just kidding. That would be scary.
Prop you up in a corner.
Prop me up in a corner, reading, as you do.
Of course.
All right. Have a good day. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Next time on the Pandemonium Witches. Okay, we have deviated way far off topic. Always interested in medicine, hence the serial killer thing. The widow soon went missing and was never seen from again.
Of course.
Of course.
Because that's how that works.
Yes. He also placed ads presenting himself as a wealthy man looking for a wife. That's a lot of wood and he still couldn't get laid.